Cannabis is commonly the most used illicit substance in many countries around the world, including the United States. It comes from the cannabis plant, which evolved about 28 million years ago on the eastern Tibetan Plateau, according to a pollen study published in May of 2019. Its use, the study suggests, has been found to date as far back as 2,500 years. Studies have strongly suggested marijuana's a wide range of benefits, from medical to recreational. Today cannabis, also known as hemp or marijuana, is legal in 15 states while criminalized in the remaining 35. There are various opinions on whether cannabis should be legalized or not. The present paper discusses the existing views and defends the idea that it should be federally legalized because of its medical and recreational benefits and a dramatic reduction in law enforcement costs. The primary argument against the legalization of cannabis is that it is the most commonly used addictive drug after tobacco and alcohol. More than 22 million Americans use marijuana at least once a month, and every 10th adult and every 6th adolescent become addicted to this drug. Except for addiction and the decreased ability to control own life, the regular's use of marijuana reduces cognitive function in middle age. More precisely, there is a strong correlation between addiction to cannabis and poor verbal memory and executive function, and slow processing speed of the brain. From this, it could be inferred that the legalization of marijuana will be a fatal strike for the well-being of the entire nation. In other words, the legalization of this drug will increase the number of people who are addicted to it and, therefore, will increase the number of middle-aged and older adults who suffer from cognitive impairments. At the same time, it might be argued that tobacco and alcohol are also legalized, but many people anyway do not smoke tobacco and do not drink alcohol. Besides, some people smoke or drink alcohol from time to celebrate holidays or cope with stress and do not get addicted. Interestingly enough, the survey conducted by the Pew Research Center in April 2021 illustrates that 91% of American adults support the legalization of marijuana for medical and recreational purposes. Furthermore, the results of the survey conducted by Keyhani et al. Show that more than 80% of adults believe that the use of marijuana is beneficial since it helps manage pain, treat epilepsy, multiple sclerosis, depression, and stress. Most importantly, people are aware not only of the benefits of cannabis but also of its risks. Respondents admit that they are afraid of legal problems because of the use of cannabis, addiction, and memory problems. This way, it is apparent that most American citizens are conscious enough of the issue of cannabis and are ready to be responsible for their actions after the legalization of this drug. Another argument against the legalization of cannabis is that it is widely perceived as a gateway drug. This means that after some time, the effect of marijuana will stop to satisfy its user and, subsequently, such a person will shift to the use of harder drugs such as, for example, heroin or cocaine. The marijuana gateway hypothesis appeared in the 1970s, and since these times, debate on whether cannabis is a gateway drug does not stop. In spite of the fact that in the academic community, there is no common opinion on the marijuana gateway hypothesis, several studies prove that the use of this drug does not cause a consequential addiction to other drugs. For instance, the United States Department of Justice researched this topic and discovered no scientific support for cannabis use leading to harder illicit drug use. Therefore, the legalization of cannabis is not expected to lead to an increase in the number of adults and adolescents addicted to hard drugs. Nonetheless, it is impossible to deny that marijuana is addictive. Without a doubt, legalization will lead to the rise of people addicted to this drug because some people in the states where marijuana is prohibited are willing to try it but are afraid of breaking the law. This, in turn, means more traffic accidents, more addicted teenagers who steal hemp from their parents or forge an identity card. Besides, legalization means increased pressure on hospitals caused by the sharply raised number of emergency room visits and demand for addiction treatment. From this perspective, it is clear that people who do not use cannabis will suffer significant losses, and their lives are put in danger as well. Still, The legalization of cannabis will save the lives of people who are used to buying it on the street and, thus, have no way to check the quality of the purchase. Legalization will decrease the illegal trade with cannabis, and, therefore, people who use this drug could at least be sure that its quality is satisfactory. What is more, legalization is a way to force sellers to certify the quality of cannabis through tests in specialized laboratories. The government will be able to control the entire production chain, from marijuana fields to laboratories where the final product is tested. Finally, through the legalization, the federal government could impose age restrictions and this way, prevent immature Americans from abuse of this substance. As it has been already noted in the introduction, the legalization of cannabis will reduce law enforcement costs. In 2018, 663,000 arrests for marijuana-related offenses were made in the United States. These arrests cost approximately $4 million to the federal government annually. The legalization of marijuana will enable police officers to spend their time, efforts, and budget on solving more acute and dangerous problems than catching people who store, purchase, or use cannabis. To conclude, it is common knowledge that fruit often tastes sweeter when it is forbidden. People who want to smoke marijuana will find a way to buy it. Those who are in good health and prefer other stress-relieving practices such as yoga, meditation, or jogging, will not use cannabis under any circumstances. Simultaneously, the legalization of marijuana will significantly relieve life for people who suffer from severe pains and various medical conditions. Finally, legalization will help to economize a substantial amount of money and utilize it more efficiently. The use of cannabis unquestionably has numerous adverse effects. Nonetheless, individuals should be free to decide independently what to do with their lives and whether the game with cannabis is worth the candle. StudyCorgi can help you make your studies smarter. Visit studycorgi.com for more samples like this, study tips, and writing tools.